we're here with David outside the empty solar systems factory that was going to be making, the first large-scale solar power station in Australia. David was one of the people who worked there. He tells us that the technology isn't just airy-fairy, it actually works. Is there something more you can tell us about the technology?
Yeah, well, we've got 5 or so sites all around Australia that have been producing solar electricity since about 2003. It's been working fantastically in these communities. We've just started our work on the brand new 150 kilowatt station in the northeast Victorian Mildura, which the government had said that they were willing to fund. And so now that's all gone pear-shaped with the administration having to be called in to shut up shop on solar systems.
So the power station in Mildura is not going ahead, you're saying?
No, well the government has said if there is someone else willing to take up the project that they will fund it, but there is no other large-scale solar companies in Australia or for CPV technology. We're the only ones. We're world leaders. We're pretty much only a couple in the world, and we're sort of 2 to 3 years ahead of everyone else in the world. So I don't think they're going to get any other tenders for their bids.
And so what happened here? Why has the company gone into administration?
Basically, we've been trying to raise money over the past year all around the world. We're a private company, and basically due to the financial crisis worldwide, we haven't been able to secure any funds over the past year anywhere around the world, and so they've had to make over 100 people redundant, pretty much.
And there was a rally out the front here that was calling on the government to step in. I mean, Adam Bant from the Greens was saying that if the government has to take people onto the payroll, the work done here is so important that it's worth doing. What do you think of that idea?
Oh, well, I totally support that idea. I think with some people here have been working for 20 years to get this technology working. It's Australian technology. There's over 150 Australian jobs. We've got Australian manufacturing here. We've got all the skills and the technology to deploy this worldwide, and it's not going ahead. So I think it's time that the government really takes this seriously, and because if they don't, there's no way that there'll be any renewable large-scale solar power stations located in Australia.
Can I just ask, this factory in here, could you just describe like what machinery, etc., is already in there? Like, what's the capacity of this factory in here? It's now currently idle.
Basically, we've got a brand new production line which makes the receivers for our dishes. The receivers are closely packed solar cells, basically made into little modules. We use pretty much space technology to make our receivers, and they go on the dishes. What used to happen was we made all our receivers by hand. We could only make a couple each week, so you could only output a couple of dishes a week. With the new production line, they make all the modules from scratch, so it's vastly improved our output to a couple of 100 receivers a week, so that we could potentially build a couple of 100 dishes a week. Each dish is about 35 kilowatts DC, so that's probably about 30 houses, instantaneous power for each dish, 30 to 35 houses.
Do you know how much investment has gone into this factory? Like what it cost to set up? No, fair enough.
We actually, what you might not know is this is one of the only 6-star buildings, workplaces in Melbourne. There's about 3 of them, I think, around Melbourne. This is a Green Star 6-star accredited building. So it's been beautifully set up, and we only moved in February to this building. So it's actually a real shame that we can't actually work here anymore. It's one of the best office facilities in all of Melbourne.
Yeah. And
You-
oh, you're right, Chris.
Yeah. You also said you tried to contact politicians about what's happened here. How did you go doing that?
Yeah, well, I've contacted both ALP and Liberal, federal and state, in their relevant portfolios such as research, engineering, energy, climate change, and then both the senior leaders. And that was over a week ago. As yet, I haven't received any replies. The only reply I did get was from Christine Mill, the Greens deputy leader, who was very very compassionate about the cause and raised quite a few of the topics in Parliament. I'm currently trying to get my local member involved. I've really only been able to talk to her secretary as yet, but we'll see how we go in the next week.
Good one. Finally, what do you think of the protests here today?
Well, it's good to see that there are passionate people around about renewable energy. It's good that we can sort of get these people down here and just to understand the cause a bit more and understand how close we are. It's not like we're in research phase, and so I suppose that's why I gave a bit of a talk, is that just so that people realise that it is a reality and it's working now. And so if we can get that message out, that's what we hope to do.
So I do have one last question. You've got a young daughter. What does climate change mean for you if we don't get renewable energy, if we don't make the emissions reductions things? Do you think this will affect the future of your child? Do you have much idea of what climate change will mean?
Well, for me personally, I think climate, well, I like going to the snow, I like the mountains, so that might be about a bit, but overall I think in Australia we will be okay, because we are a developed nation. We'll be able to get through it somehow. Of course we'll have a lot of bad incidences, and we're probably going to have to be a bit more careful in what we do in the future, nature-wise, just with fires and things. I think the real trouble will be for the poorer people of the world, though. They don't get a real chance to say that where they live, and I think that's where the real shame will be. So.
Good one.
Okay.